Coleman, a former champion, a Pan Am Games gold medalist, 10 years older than Pedro Rizzo. Could that be a factor? 6 pounds heavier. Coleman Rizzo, as we continue our highly publicized road to the heavyweight championship. Official introductions forthcoming.
The road to the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World continues with our next bout, beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He is a Vale Judo expert and 4-time Brazilian Muay Thai champion. He has a mixed martial arts record of 7-0. He is a veteran of Ultimate Brazil, standing 6 feet, 1 inch tall, weighing in at 229 pounds. He comes to us all the way from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Please welcome Pedro Rizzo. And his opponent, who is no stranger to the octagon. He is a freestyle wrestler with a UFC record of 6-2. He is a former national champion, a Pan Am Games champion, an Olympic team member, and former UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Standing 6 feet, 1 inch tall, weighing in at 235 pounds, and hailing from Columbus, Ohio, please welcome Mark the Hammer Coleman.
There is a bit of crossover of camps here. Mark's opponent tonight, Pedro Rizzo, works out with Mark Kerr, a friend and sometimes training partner of Mark the Hammer Coleman. Heavyweight road continues. Here's Big John.
Hey, here we go, gentlemen. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on!
Here we go. Guys. Mark Coleman in search once again of redemption.
And it's the wrestler against the martial artist here. Look for Coleman to go to his bread and butter, and that's ground and pound. Good takedowns and then operating from within his opponent's guard to strike. Make him believe it.
Coleman, as we have said before, with Frank Shamrock in his corner.
Pedro's got to keep his hands up nice and high and box. He'll never kick in this distance because Mark expects that stuff. You see that?
And there's that power of Coleman. Good speed too.
Be patient, Mark.
Be patient. The first thing that comes out of his mouth. You said before, Jeff, Mark Coleman has always been a sprinter.
Be patient, Mark. Relax.
It's a nice short forearm there.
It's always in Mark Coleman's mind that he can run out of gas. He's run out of gas twice. That's constantly on his mind.
Force the fight, Mark. Relax.
And I'm somebody that believes if you're born a sprinter, that's what you do. And Mark Coleman is a tremendous sprinter. He is so tough early in the fights.
There's a Ken Shamrock technique right there. He's taught him that.
Very nice with that short forearm again. Rizzo tying up Coleman's right arm effectively there. Coleman doesn't seem to be able to pull it out.
Totally different opponent here tonight in Mark Coleman than Tank Abbott for Pedro Rizzo.
Yeah, this is a completely different style. There's another Ken Shamrock, one leg up, one down. That's a classic Ken Shamrock. The elbows from the inside. They've schooled him.
Rizzo doing a nice job within the guard, John. Tying up the arms.
I think it's easier for a really strong stand-up fighter to learn grappling.
Mark did have to deal with the battle with hypoglycemia. He now has a good doctor. He was unaware of the problem he had had before. He has also totally rehabbed the knee that kept him out of a couple of competitions.
And he won't hurt the knee staying in this position. It's only if he gets kicked.
Rizzo doing a very good tactic here, turning himself back in towards the center so he can't get pushed up against the fence and have nowhere to go. Here now, he always has movement trying to extend away from Coleman.
Ken Shamrock, very distinct with his instructions to Coleman. There's the elbow in short. Shamrock just called for it. Rizzo's corner meantime. Marco Rujas, his hero.
Come on, get your position. Let's go.
thing I've noticed, though, here is Coleman has not done anything to try to beat the guard. He's just trying to beat the arms and strike from within it.
But his pressure's different. He's using one hip to move onto one leg now when the guard opens. He's never done that before.
No, it seems as though he has been picking up some skills as to how to operate from within it without burning up tremendous amounts of energy. Certainly being up on your toes the whole time engages your entire leg muscle, and that's going to burn a lot more energy than taking a knee and only having one leg up for balance.
He's taking a lot of shots, but, you know, he's a kickboxer and he takes a lot of shots. He's kind of used to that.
And well-versed in the guard with his jiu-jitsu background, but he has worked more, as you said, in the Muay Thai and in the kicking and kickboxing areas, right, John?
He's really a luta libre guy. A luta libre guy is a guy who fights against Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys. And look, Mark Coleman right now has got a really nice little, what's that called, the cradle?
That right there is just a half Nelson, but if he keeps driving that leg up, it's literally the same kind of pressure as a cradle.
6-2 record, 5th UFC for the Hammer. One of the most popular champions in UFC history.
You guys have all these great names for things. That's the nice part.
They come up with them. We just used it.
I wonder how much patience John McCarthy is going to have for this position.
Well, it depends on how active Coleman stays. If he stays active, John will let it go. But if he sits back and tries to relax and take his time and becomes less effective at striking, that's when you're going to see McCarthy stand. But Mark Coleman continues to move. I don't know about these rapid punches to the side there, John. Do you think they do any good at all?
Well, what they do is they bring Rizzo's hand down to protect him, and then he gets the top shot. He's going to go 2 under over the top. 2 under over, that's what he's done continuously here.
Mark has said before on the Perils of Fame, I handled it poorly. I used all the attention, and it went to my head. Everybody was telling me I was the greatest. Something an experienced fighter should never let happen. To him, he says now the best thing that could have happened to him was losing, because he was on the road to nowhere, which is just what John McCarthy considered there. They weren't going anywhere, so he stands them up 5 minutes in.
And now we have to look at Mark Coleman and take a look at him and see how his energy output is going to be affected here mid-match. We know he has it in the beginning, but it's been his deficiency that's been his downfall when it comes to cardio.
Watch it, he's separating his legs. Now you got to be really careful here for Coleman, because he could lead with the low kick or the high kick and then follow with the right hand. See, Rizzo's aggressive now. You see how tight he is?
Moving in, yeah.
Mark's mouth is open.
Mark Coleman.
Sugar Ray Robinson left.
And that backed Rizzo up. And now he's a little bit more apprehensive about putting his head in front of Coleman. But like you said, John, I'm sure he's been struck a lot. This is really new territory for Mark Coleman coming out here.
Aggressive with the strikes.
In the mid-match area, time-wise, and being effective with it.
Marcus is striking really well, but he's getting into a closer range, and he's lowering his hands. This is going to be Pedro Rizzo firing something very cute.
Pedro still a lot of bounce in that step.
He's in good shape. He's bigger than he was.
I wonder if Coleman's going to look for another takedown, but this is where also Coleman's been vulnerable. The leg kicks, particularly to his left leg.
That is what happened when he was upset by Maurice Smith in Birmingham in UFC 14, one of the most shocking upsets in UFC history.
Don't be shocked here by the counter right.
Nice right hand there. You called it, John.
Small cut over Rizzo's left eye. But the hands of Coleman are getting lower and the mouth is opening up. Now watch that high light kick. It's because I see him separating his legs now.
Getting the inside of a former kickboxer and matchmaker of the UFC, John Peretti.
Now Coleman trying to wrench the neck. And they split up again.
He's tired. Yeah, his hands are going to his knees. Classic position for Mark Coleman. You've seen it before.
12-minute regulation period, you guys.
Watch that right leg come high.
He actually lifted his leg, though. Coleman lifted his leg to absorb that shot.
They said they were going to work on leg checks. I'm surprised Pedro's not really picking at him now.
What's the mental state of Pedro Rizzo now? Does he feel like he has an advantage on his opponent?
Yeah, he's coming in tighter and harder. He's going to try to scramble. He could get wrapped up, though. He doesn't want to be there again, that's for sure.
Coleman has it back where he wants it.
It's a nice technique that Pedro uses. You see him swim inside the arm. That stops him from getting hit with the elbow, and he can stay around it then.
Good point there. We call that inside position in wrestling. Hooking your arm to the inside keeps that limb from being able to come down. Once again, you saw it there.
You were talking about the hands lowering for Coleman a moment ago before we got back into ground and pound. That is one of the main things he has been trying to work on, keeping the hands up. He withstood what seemed to be a period of time in which he was a bit fatigued.
He's trying to work him to the corner, but he's getting tired. Look at his coloration.
He is definitely a sprinter, always has been. However, he's worked hard to try to conserve energy and pace. But it's awful hard when you're built one way to try to perform another.
3 minutes remains. Mark Coleman and Ken Shamrock have the same wrestling agent. That is how they came together for their training. Rizzo said he knew that this would be the hardest fight of his life because Coleman has to win after those two devastating losses to Pete Williams and Maurice Smith.
He's doing a very good job here. He's doing what he wants to do. If he hooked that arm through the back of his head like that, he'd have no defense on his left side.
Nickname in Holland for Pedro is The Rock.
He tried that earlier, John, tying up a hand so he could have a free opening to rain some punches down. But Rizzo doing a terrific job here against Coleman, tying him up. Mark's really not being able to get lots of strikes through, just one here and there.
Yeah, I don't have much patience for that. I don't know how much John McCarthy has, but it's interesting what Rizzo's doing now. He's staying underneath. See, his arms are underneath. He can go to the back that way, too. I don't know if that's intentional.
I wonder if also it's putting Coleman's hands down, which means to catch himself, which means you can't punch while they're grounded, and it also takes energy to hold you up.
Yeah.
Now, pride for your country being displayed right outside of the octagon here. Vitor Belfort isn't sitting far from us, and he is speaking in their native tongue of Portuguese to Pedro Rizzo, trying to support his fellow countryman. What a night in Brazil it was for both of those guys.
Check out the Coleman's left leg.
Yeah. They stand him up again. There are some welts on the left leg of Mark Coleman, similar to those displayed in the fight against Maurice Smith.
A little darker in tonality.
Don't take those leg kicks.
And Ken Shamrock is saying, take him down. Don't even wait to trade punches. Take him down.
1 minute remains. And then a 3-minute overtime would follow. A different hammer, you guys. Both intently watching the match. Try it again. A different hammer, you guys.
It looks like he's improved a lot under the wisdom of Ken Shamrock.
Hands are down now.
I'm really waiting for this big right over the top because it just looks like it's coming. Oh, he dropped his hands. You see that? He drops his hands like that. Pedro should really, that's opportune for him.
This is a long one for Mark Coleman. It appears to be heading to overtime unless we have a shocker like the Pete Williams situation. The final seconds tick away.
Do you think Rizzo's wasting opportunity here, John?
Clearly. I think that right high kick should have come already because he's a sucker for it when he drops his hands. Take him off the top.
And Coleman, someone that has had trouble defending against leg kicks. And there you can see the welt. Coleman's leg from those kicks. Something similar to what Muhammad Ali went through against Antonio Inoki when those two fought over in Japan.
Gene LaBelle was the referee.
There you go. Famous name in judo here in this country. Mean Gene LaBelle. And I love his little patch. Break a leg means have a nice day. Let's watch for that Coleman right hand here. He was able to land one. A couple of lefts set it up, and there's that flurry. Trading some punches, and again, that leg kick from Rizzo, but very effective.
Just not enough from Rizzo.
I agree.
With that in mind, in your guys' opinion, who's ahead going into the overtime?
I think Coleman is slightly ahead.
I agree.
So Mark Coleman has 3 more minutes to withstand. He was well ahead of Pete Williams, don't forget. Lost at 38 seconds of overtime. The big right foot. He lost the decision going the distance with Maurice Smith. Those were his last 2 fights. Overtime has not been nice to Mark Coleman in his UFC career.
If Rizzo can put forth his will and dominate these 3 minutes, he could steal the fight.
Rizzo just has to fake the low right kick, and Coleman will block it.
Coleman kick.
It's a playing into the wrong game here.
Certainly is.
It's really silly at this point in time, especially.
It's a high kick, Shamrock says. Keep your hands up.
Shamrock knows the potentiality of a big high round leg kick right now.
This is about the spot in which it happened. 38 seconds has now passed. That's when Petey hurt him.
And Coleman now moving forward.
Rizzo has to use his right leg more. He has to. He's singular in his use. Low round kick. He's got to throw a high kick.
And just as Coleman started going forward, he's now retreating back to the fence.
A stiff left jab on Coleman's right side of his mouth.
Does Rizzo know deep down in his heart that he's behind and he has to try something soon?
Absolutely. Look at the scramble just to stay up. Now that made Coleman very tired.
Certainly that's a big burst of energy to try to absorb.
Don't get lazy, Mark.
Uh-oh, a couple delivered, a couple shots landed on Mark the Hammer Coleman.
Mark, don't do that. He's going to check your shin. Coleman, all you got to do is take him down.
You hear Shamrock saying he's going to high kick you?
Yep.
I totally agree.
All you got to do is take him down. There's the arms momentarily.
I don't know why Coleman doesn't bull rush, tie the upper body up, and then go for the legs.
Frank agrees. I mean, Ken agrees.
He's trying just the straight double leg shoot, and it's not working.
1 minute remaining. It is time for Pedro Rizzo. There it is, guys. He couldn't hold on to it again, though. Rizzo right back up. Caught him a bit with the knee, though. 50 seconds.
Very good, Mike.
Too little, too late for Pedro Rizzo, I think.
Unless perhaps he can score a knockout. It's been done before.
It just seems Rizzo can't put his will forward enough to dominate. Coleman able to at least get a punch in or two, and Rizzo backs off.
Now, this is shades of Maurice Smith here. Refusal to finish.
Well, it's the first time that really Coleman got caught sideways with that kick.
Just got to hold off 15 more seconds if you're Mark Coleman. Rizzo's got to go.
And Rizzo just isn't coming forward enough to earn this. I'm not sure. It's a close fight. But I think it's going to be Coleman here. And that's going to do it.
Huge mistake by Pedro Rizzo.
Good job, dude. Good job.
Pedro Rizzo, Mark Coleman continuing the road to the heavyweight championship. Coleman walks to the other corner, and Marco Ruas. And the Lions Den already plotting if perhaps Coleman has won for the next competition.
Tough fight. Tough fight.
Clearly. That's big left hand. He sets up for a big... Now he should have come with the high kick right over the top again.
A beautiful sequence of punches followed up with a good, strong leg kick there. But as you said, was it too little, too late?
Well, the judges will render the decision. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Overtime, we go to the judges' cards for a decision. We have a split decision, beginning with Judge Eddie Goldman, who calls it Rizzo. Dr. Tim Catalfo calls it Coleman. And referee Judge Dave Meltzer calls it for the winner on his way to the heavyweight championship, Pedro